Yo, what up? Yeah, I just want to do a shout out to my friends in Myanmar. Food Not Bombs, Rebel Riot in Myanmar. Please support these guys, alright? So, just want to do a shout out for that. Wearing their shirt today goes with the topic of the day.
Alright, cool. And this is our interview segment of our show, and today we have a very special guest. So please welcome Axey.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know who Axey is, he's a very important person in the community for a long time, and he runs Help Hanoi's Homeless, which I feel is a great cause, helping the homeless around town. So can you just tell us a little bit about when you started it, why you started it, a little bit of
Well, we started back in 2017, essentially I started it for two reasons. One, of course, about 8 to 9 years ago I was homeless myself, so I've obviously always had a level of empathy for people who were in the same situation as I was. When I came to Hanoi, there was one night when I saw a woman with a baby, little baby, just tucked away, sort of sleeping on a little plastic stool. And it broke my heart, so I thought, well, I'd try to help her initially, and then I sort of started getting more people involved, and it just snowballed into Help Hanoi's Homeless. And so now, several years later, here's where we are.
Yeah, so since 2017. Can you tell us a little bit about what exactly does your organization do?
Well, we do quite a lot of things. I mean, primarily we consider ourselves a frontline organisation, so we go out onto the street and help people directly. So that might be with things like food, toiletries, medical supplies, things like that, treating minor injuries and things like that. And just helping people generally sort of get on their feet, helping them with employment if possible. We also do a number of other things. So we run, at the moment we're running a free online school for disadvantaged children. So we're also English lessons, maths lessons, science lessons and so on, and various different vocational skills which we'll do. We do a monthly blood drive and a handful of other things. We support a lot of the charities out here with their individual projects as well. So if someone needs volunteers or supplies of some kind, then we try to help them out with that as well.
Okay, cool. And I know that, do you still go out every Thursday?
I mean, with the COVID situation,
that's what I was going to say.
It's done a little bit differently, yeah. So at the moment, unfortunately, we're not able to sort of gather everybody and have everyone go out because you have to factor in the opportunity and the cost. And at the moment, I think the cost, the potential risk is just too high. When you consider that homeless people or people who are very, very poor, they tend to live in more sort of densely populated areas, and if just one of my volunteers or one of the homeless people was infected in some way, and we do wash our hands of course and wear masks and everything like that, but if one was infected, we might end up infecting an entire community. And these are going to be the people who are at the most risk and most vulnerable and least able to sort of get the medical attention that they might need. They're going to have compromised immune systems and things like that. So we don't want to do that. So at the moment what we're doing is any donations we get, whether it's food or toiletries or whatever else, we're making sure that it's taken out individually and just by one person and given out safely. So we're still getting things out to people, but it's done in a bit of a different way.
Yeah, well, that's kind of leading up into my next question is, what kind of hurdles and kind of difficulties has your organization had to go through since because of COVID and all these kind of things?
Well, it's been, of course, we've right back at the beginning we focused enormously on getting masks out, hand sanitizer. We were putting up things like soap and water dispensers just in areas where homeless people were, so that people could wash their hands and things like that. So we sort of changed our focus directly to that. We gave out thousands of masks. I remember right back at one of the early outbreaks, forgive me, but I've forgotten the name of the district, but there was sort of an outbreak in this district. We made sure that we got lots and lots of soap sent out there, thousands of masks. We worked with a company called Blossom Soap Company, and they sent us a ton of soap, and we had all of that shipped out, and hand sanitizer and everything like that. So we tried in the early days to sort of like mitigate the spread among the poor and homeless, because obviously sanitation is a very difficult thing to, they can't hand sanitizer is quite expensive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
True. Well, especially when it comes to that.
Yeah,
and for a lot of people, it might be considered a bit of a luxury and that sort of thing. So if we can get it out to people so they can just wash their hands on the go, then it can prevent an outbreak within the homeless population.
I have a question about shelters. Are there actual shelters in Hanoi for people on the street?
Not for adults. Not really. No. I mean, you might get the odd NGO or charitable person who might take in some people temporarily, but in terms of sort of like a safety net shelter, there's really not.
So, are there squatters' rights? Like, do people just squat in buildings? Do they find groups of people living in buildings like they do in the West, or?
Oh, you'll definitely get squatters. Yeah, absolutely, certainly. But in terms of squatters' rights, I don't think there's anything like that out here.
What are the laws about that though? Like about people on the streets? What do they have to?
I'm fairly sure they have the same sort of vagrancy laws as they would have in the West. That are very, very. The laws we have in the UK, at least, and I'm sure in America as well, the sort of Vagrancy Act is very loosely defined and sort of usually applied when it's convenient to move people off.
That exactly.
You need to clean something. In the UK, if the Queen's visiting or something like that, then suddenly we have to get rid of all the homeless people, paint everything with, paint everything fresh and all of that, and that's when the Vagrancy Act comes in. That's when it's illegal to be poor.
What about the people that like clean your shoes on the street and sell stuff? Are those people homeless? You think, are most of them homeless, or are they?
It's a really tricky one. So I'm sure there are some that are out there shining shoes who really do need help. It's very difficult because there are predatory gangs who sometimes take advantage of that and will send people out and take all their money and stuff like that. So it's a really difficult one as to whether going and getting your shoes cleaned is helping somebody, or whether it might just be going directly to a gang or something like that. It's difficult to say. It's very difficult to say. I think what it comes down to is sort of, if it's possible, kind of forge a relationship with the person. And if you know them, you know their situation, you might be able to help them in other ways as well as just giving them money,
Right.
Because it's an unfortunate situation that occurs the world over, is that there are people who take advantage of people in poverty.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're often the people with absolutely no moral compass whatsoever. So you will get your gangsters and things taking advantage of it. I wouldn't say to people, don't get your shoes done. I wouldn't turn around to them and say, give them 500k. I would say, if you're frequenting an area where there is somebody going around shining shoes, if it's possible, just forge a connection with them, talk to them, find out what their situation is. If they're going off at the end of the day and somebody's taking all their money and whatever else, then there might be some way you can help get them out of that situation. And if they are genuinely on their own struggling, well, there's other ways you can help them as well.
I just have one question about shoe shine. Now, I don't know if a lot of people outside of Hanoi realize how frequent it is that they walk around. Because I have a funny story. My friend was freaking out. Like, someone was grabbing his shoes. He's like, why are you grabbing my shoes? So.
It's a difficult one. I mean, it's like many things. I think some people, they come to me and they say, what should I do in this situation? What should I do in that situation? When it comes to, you see a child on the street, or you see a pregnant woman on the street or something. And the fact is that it's a really difficult one to answer. There's no definitive answer. I can't give people an absolute set of rules. It really comes down to a case-by-case sort of basis. So if you see children on the street unaccompanied, get in touch with Blue Dragon immediately. Let them know where they are, let them know what situation they're in, and so on. And they have an outreach team, social workers and so on, who will be much more qualified than your average civilian to go and deal with it. In terms of giving out money, I wouldn't really recommend giving money directly, because first and foremost, it's kind of an ineffective way of giving things out. So if you give somebody 30k, they might be able to buy a meal with it. But based on previous experience, I've been able to cook 40 meals for 100k. So it's kind of ineffective, but also it could just be going off to gangs. It could be, it could be going to, you could be incentivizing people to come and take advantage of it and that sort of thing.
Or maybe even drug use or alcoholism as well. Maybe go and buy. Like, I know that's a big problem where I come from with the homeless, is a lot of them are addicted to something or alcoholics. And if you do give them money, then they're gonna actually just go and drink it or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this we have to be careful with that one because nobody asks to be an addict, and I think often
No,
sort of seeing
exactly.
a homeless person with a can of beer or something is an easy way for us to dehumanise them. So we want to kind of, what's the difference? I mean, we all drink, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we don't have a problem with it, but it's
Right,
we all spend our money on beer and stuff.
Of course.
Right.
And the difference between us, we have roofs over our heads.
Yeah,
If we're on the streets
definitely.
doing it, then suddenly it's like,
Very interesting.
stay away from that guy. So I wrestle with it sometimes when there are people who come on my runs. Sometimes they say, "Hang on, this person's got a can of beer with them. Let's not give them any food." I'm like, you can't starve an addiction out. That's not the way it works.
Yeah, well,
But
if you're
this
giving them
person's-
food, it's not like they can transfer that into
Exactly.
beer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's why I like giving food or
Yes,
giving something like that.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, the first thing is to give people food, give them something that will give them comfort, give them. A lot of the time, even if the homeless are getting food, give them something healthy because so many of them are malnourished. They're not getting vitamin C and vitamin D and so on.
So I did that the other day. I saw a guy in front of Circle K. I was in Teo, and I just walked in, just grabbed him a sandwich and like a drink of something, and like something trying to get him healthy. Just gave it to him a little bit of money, But just a little bit helps, and think people just don't realize,
Yeah.
And just that, like someone just talking to them, You're so alone when you're in that situation.
It's incredibly dehumanizing. It's like that was one of the most difficult things when my homeless experience was comparably quite brief compared to some of the people who are on the streets for years. But one of the hardest things is just the hopelessness of it, and a lot of that comes from the contempt people have when they see you. It's like you feel completely subhuman, and it's not just like being hungry all the time. It's not being dirty and dusty all the time. It's not just being cold all the time. It's just the fact that people hate your presence. They see you. You feel like
They just try to ignore that you're even there.
Yeah.
But what is it? Now, this is what's interesting because when I see people out like that in the community, I don't see as much disdain. I mean, I see a little bit like, people, of course, in the rich guy, but I don't see as much disdain as like in the West, like the guys walking around with the shoes in the businesses. They're kind of allowed to come around.
Yeah.
You would never, in America, they would just like, no, the business would.
Well, that's true. I mean, there's you get that in the UK too. There's anti-homeless architecture, like benches with the armrest in the middle. And spikes on the ground outside of shops. Like that is it really is the most like sort of barbaric thing that we've just collectively accept as a society. We won't have somebody here under this nice sheltered warm bit. They have to go and sleep in the rain.
Yeah, it's not looked at as like, we want to help them. They're more looked at like they're garbage.
Just get them out
Get
of
them
the way.
away.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Let's not think about actually them as human beings and what they're actually going through, and maybe, everybody I think goes through things and goes through ups and downs. That doesn't mean that,
That's it.
I briefly worked in a bank once, and I remember coming in one morning and they just left the heating on overnight. And there was a homeless person outside shivering, and I was like, it's cool that they've got the money to like leave the heating on overnight and completely forget about it with all the lights on as well. And there's just somebody outside shivering. It's messed up. The way you, I don't know. To me, it was just like a bizarre sort of parallel when you see all of that energy being used at night to advertise the bank. Their logos all lit up and stuff at 2 a.m. They can afford to have it done all 24 hours a day, every day.
Exactly.
And there's somebody outside who has absolutely nothing.
All right, so actually I want to reel it back for a second because I had another question. When it comes to the homeless here in Hanoi and COVID and all that stuff, are they getting vaccinated as well? Like, I'm really curious about that. Are they getting allowed to get vaccinated with everybody else? They can just show up, or is that an issue?
I'd imagine that they can just show up. Yeah. I mean, I don't honestly know the answer to that, but I would be remiss if that wasn't something that somebody was taking care of. I mean. Obviously, it's easier when people are sort of registered at a certain address and things like that. But I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what the answer to that is. I mean, I would hope there is somebody out there who's sort of like, okay, going around to them and saying, let's all get you vaccinated, come to this place, and so on. But I have no idea if that's happening or not. Yeah.
Cool.
I really hope it is happening
Yeah.
because obviously we're gonna end up with
They're at high risk.
Very,
Yeah, that's
And
high
there
risk.
are some ones that are at high risk.
Yeah.
Imagine you're sleeping outside in this, it's getting pretty cold.
Yeah.
It's starting to get cold, yeah,
Immune
exactly.
system's lower, you have to kind of huddle together, things like that. Diseases spread rapidly anyway.
Yeah.
Let alone COVID.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us any new projects or anything coming up for you? Are you guys doing anything for Christmas or New Year's or Tet or
Well, we've got
any kind of stuff coming up?
We've got our monthly blood drive coming up, of course, which we do on the last weekend of every month. So, it's not exactly a unique Christmas thing, but this will be our Christmas blood drive, as it were. I'm going to obviously keep getting things out to the homeless in my own way. We probably won't be able to do sort of like a Christmas run this year with everybody together because of the COVID situation, which is unfortunate. Major project that we're working on at the moment is the educational project. So, we're looking for teachers who can teach online just for 40 minutes a week. English, maths, science, reading, writing,
Cool.
Vietnamese or English, can contact me and join up. And if they can host just a free lesson for 40 minutes a week in the evening, one day a week or one day every 2 weeks or whatever they can teach, then that's fantastic, and we can supplement, the education of some people who otherwise might not have access to the same level of education. So that's what one major project I'm working on at the moment is, basically just trying to create this sort of free online school.
I think that's amazing.
That's a great
That's
idea.
great. Education, I think, is a great tool for people. It's
that's
not
what does
just,
them out of the positive.
well, give a man a fish, right?
Yeah.
Teach a man to fish,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
that's it, yeah.
Absolutely,
So if anybody wants to join the blood drive or be a part of this, how they get in contact with you? Where can they?
Generally, Facebook is the best way.
Facebook on Help Hanoi
Help Hanoi Homeless, yep. Join
Facebook
up,
page,
write our
just
posts.
join up, send a message to
Yeah,
you,
send a message to me, Axey.
and they can get on with either the blood drive or help and teach.
Yeah.
So if you guys are interested, contact Help Hanoi Homeless Facebook page,
Yeah.
and you can help out. And I think it's a great cause. Is there anything else you wanna say? Anything?
Not at the moment, no. But if anyone's, as he said, if anybody's interested in getting involved, just join Help Hanoi Homeless, the Facebook group, and just write a post or read through the ones that are already there, and get in touch with me if you want to help out or volunteer.
Right
All right. Thanks for coming on, Axey.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
I think you do a great thing
Yeah.
here, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future, and you keep
Yeah.
going, right? You get
Thanks, Dad.
still plans on
Yeah.
stopping, right? You're not
Yeah,
going
right
anywhere,
on,
right?
right
So,
on. Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
all right.
Cool.
All right, we're back. Here's some more
All right.
independent music for you guys. Three the
Three the hard way. Yo.
No doubt. Street the hard way. Street the hard way.
You said when I'm asleep, you like to picture I'm paralyzed. My condition has stabilized, but I can only move my eyes. And then maybe I'd see the safety in sacrifice, as painless as paradise. Just blink once for yes, and for no, blink twice. And oh my God, I should have bought a gun. Can't be too careful these days, and you can't trust anyone. I should have bought a condo in Palm Beach, and I could live down there half the time. You know that I have half a mind to spend each day inside, and turn on the TV and watch as our stock declines. We live in the end of time, so please hit like
Thuoc loud smoke burns the eyes, and the twisted security grandpa slumps in a 90s leather and metal office chair. Awakes from his slumber and sees nothing wrong with a hit from a bong that only lasts so long and costs only a few Vietnam dong. I've seen this guy a million times, or at least a man just like him, and my penetrable thoughts lead me to the conclusion that I've got him pretty sussed. Blue suit security guard, so military garb is a must. His day-to-day seems pretty fucking standard, and I'm not trying to hit this old guy with slander, but speculate this for a sec. Probably wakes up really early and walks around somewhere in a vest, clearing years of tobacco smoke from a wheezing chest. Has a little wash, then off he sets, rides his bicycle down the lane and hits the pipe on the corner with his old mates who are doing just the same. Quickly back on the bike and he's on the go, slowly rolling down to a first spot where man always used to jam, round the back of the lake down an alley on Huang Qua Tam. Slurps up his bowl and he's back on the go, to sit where he sits outside this coffee shop on Quan Nua where I always go. Putting the bikes on the pavement and wheels them onto the road for beautiful office ladies and fitted shirt men who are sweating with a fake sense of grandiose. His lifestyle bucolic in a sense, a word that reflects his slowness and how his puzzle pieces don't interlock with the urban landscapes that are waking around him. Then he's sitting down again in his chair, the odd scowls or chanted howl to one of his kin, pushing something down the street that looks entirely invaluable, and I think to myself, what the fuck are you doing, man? What are you securing? What are you looking after? How much are you being paid? Where's your wife and what does she have to say about how you just hang out all day? And then I curse myself and I force myself towards a deeper stream of thought, which I rarely ever reach. And there flowing downstream is the speculation of what his aforementioned bucolic nature might just represent. This smoked out man is about 65, which means when Vietnam was at war, he was alive. And probably living in Hanoi, and I doubt he's been sitting outside this coffee shop since he was a boy, so I wonder, what did he think when he read his conscription papers and found out about a fight? How many guns he's held and seen heads swelled from mustard gas and Agent Orange, and birth defects from chemical warfare in tactics that are frankly abhorrent. Was he at the Tet Offensive, beaming with pride and helping to turn the tide? Or was he stowed away in Ha Giang, listening on a radio for a safe place to hide? Did he march into Saigon and look upon the Independence Palace and watch that last American bird spread its blade-spinning wings flutter away from a lost war to the adulation of the man himself, Ho Chi Minh? Or was he chilling in Hoi An, pictures of him wearing GI uniform, running riot, raping, wrecking human life beyond rectify and repair? Was he clambering through jungles in Central Highlands, searching for people missing in action, feeling sorrows of war from the tips of his blood-numbed fingers through his bones to his core? Either way, I'd say it's pretty fucked. This man has lived a life with so much pain around him, it's bound to have an impact. An impact that is never pursued or questioned and definitely not attacked. But if you look at all that world that I said is sprouting around him, a world where we medicate ourselves and are encouraged to face our problems by telling people how bad they are, to the people unless paid couldn't care less, and it's the only way we're going to progress, we just got to tell the world, I'm raising awareness. Helping make a change in a world where the people in power only want to change on their own terms. Imagine this man going to see a fresh out of college, Tupperware, hot cup coffee sipping kid with pictures of himself on safari in Maui next to a rhino with his fiancée and saying, after I shot that guy in the forehead, I helped a child from Thanh Hoa province hold his younger brother's large intestine inside his body. Or, I can still smell the shit that splattered onto my hand when squatted in a tunnel just outside Saigon. My best friend Duc Kien shit himself when some American soldiers found our hiding place with a ton of rice, enough to feed 2 villages. Nah, man. Whatever that guy has seen, he'll probably never tell a soul and have it safely pushed to the back of his mind. It's pushing open, but he's got it under control. With such pain probably comes such a resilience to hold. Or maybe he just represents a dying generation who just did what they had to do and didn't moan to me or you because he was too fucking busy. Well, he ain't busy now. And I reckon looking back on down the line, he's probably earned his stripes and his right to sit around all day, go to bed early in the night because he's too fucking high from smoking strong tobacco and drinking rice wine. And the Thuoc Lao smoke doesn't burn his bloodshot eyes. As he's slumped in the chair, I think to myself, I wonder what he'd say if I just went over and said, "You alright?"